Our predictions for the 2023 Australian Grand Prix. Let's start with biggest good surprise. Now we're gonna mix it up. Tommy, you're gonna go first.
Okay, my biggest good surprise is McLaren. Big surprise. Probably the biggest surprise is me saying McLaren is a good surprise, because I've had my criticisms of them, but I feel like this track may suit things a little better. And hopefully this is a good omen for McLaren, a good circuit for them. They did well there last year, so I feel like they might turn it around. Lando Norris, I think, is going to be well suited to this track, his kind of track. So we shall see. I'm sure many McLaren fans are praying that I'm right, because they still don't have any points.
McLaren could finish 11th and 12th, and you would be claiming that's the biggest good surprise because it wasn't as bad as Saudi. My biggest good surprise is Nico Hülkenberg. I feel as though Haas haven't got off to the best of starts. They've shown some moments of potential in qualifying, but they haven't really delivered. And I think Nico Hülkenberg hasn't really delivered to the level that you certainly thought, Tommy, before the start of the season, but also me. He's a brilliant driver, as much as everyone decides to throw shade because he hasn't scored a podium. He's still a very consistent, decent driver.
Yeah, Hülkenberg hasn't actually delivered all too much this season. He's not been that safe pair of hands that we expected so far, but it is early days. Okay,
we now move to biggest flop. My one is Sergio Perez. I'm sorry, Mexican fans. I'm sorry, Sergio Perez fans. But look, there's no hate here. This is just predictions, okay? We're like, who can have a bad weekend? I feel as though Perez, after his performance in Saudi, has been put on a bit of a pedestal now. Like, oh, he can take the fight to Max. There's big storylines around it. I feel like it will go back to how it was in Bahrain, where Max is clear, he'll drive off into the distance, and in fact, we'll get on to the rest of my reasons why as we go to the other sides of the predictions. But I just don't think he's going to have as good a weekend.
Biggest flop for a Red Bull has to be kind of not first or second. Then,
yeah, literally.
That's crazy. I have gone for biggest flop as Carlos Sainz. Now, he's not exactly been on Charles Leclerc's pace anyway, so for it to be a flop, it is going to have to be a bit of a mare. But he did have a mare last year. Found a lot of gravel traps, and I do hope Sainz does pick up the pace, because I think it could get really spicy if we do have a nice battle between the Ferrari drivers. I do really want to see it.
Okay, I can see that. Sainz, hasn't had a great start to the season anyway, in my opinion, in terms of his pace to his teammate and whatnot, so it would have to be a bit of a stinker in order for this to be biggest flop, but we shall see. Okay.
Drink.
Now we go to pole position. All right, hear me out. Here we go. Are you ready for this?
Oh, okay.
I am ready to put this into existence. Pole position for the Australian Grand Prix 2023. Fernando Alonso. Yeah. Basket in. Come on. Come in, everybody. Let's get that.
I hope you're right.
Let's get the ritual going. Okay, my reasonings for this. Fernando Alonso is a god, number one. He's proved that in the first two races. Number two, he almost stuck it on the front row last year. Had it not been for that mechanical issue, everyone thinks that, yes, he could have stuck it P2 on the grid, which is absolutely insane in what was the Alpine. And it
much worse car than he's got now.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Aston Martin, I just feel like they might be a little bit groovy this weekend. Get a bit closer to the Red Bull. The Red Bulls aren't absolutely in the distance, good night, sweetheart kind of area in qualifying. Yes, they are in the race, but they can get close enough. He's got something to prove about Australia. He wants revenge after last year's mishap.
God, what incredible redemption that would be for that lap. I agree that they're going to be, I think they should be good around here. But I have gone boring, and I have gone for pole position. Max Verstappen, because I want some points.
It is still 5-3, isn't it? Because neither of us scored any points after the second round.
Well, I said this last time, and every time I do pick Verstappen, he doesn't win.
Okay, we now go to my top three. In third position, Sergio Perez.
Oh.
Which will tie in with his biggest flop.
Yes, the car is so good that not finishing in the top two is a flop.
Exactly.
For third place, I have gone for Fernando Alonso.
Back-to-back-to-back podiums.
Yes.
The three-peat, but for podiums. Okay, I can see that. In second place, Fernando Alonso. After a titanic battle with Max Verstappen for all of one lap after him being on pole, he will end up beating Perez.
Will he get in the grid spot properly this time?
That is a very good question, which I hope he does. I hope they just bring like a ridiculously crazy invention for the Aston Martin that has like almost like old age pensioner kind of wing mirrors so that he can see kind of where to put the car. I feel like that could be quite beneficial for him.
So second place for me is Sergio Perez. I've gone for an extremely bold prediction, as you can see.
Tommy, you have to keep things interesting, otherwise people will turn off.
No,
you know?
I'm just jinxing. I never get any points, so I'm just hoping that this doesn't happen.
Okay, fair enough. My winner of the Australian Grand Prix is Max Verstappen. Congratulations, Max. Well done.
You roasted me for
a
boring prediction. Yeah.
Sorry. At least I've mixed it up a little bit and not had a Red Bull 1-2 again.
I have gone hugely bold and swapped 2 and 3 round of every other round of this season.
That's massively bold when the Red Bulls are a second clear of everyone else on race pace.
It is, to be fair. So yeah, my winner, I have gone for Max Verstappen as well. I promise later down the season I will mix it up, but I'm trying to bag some early points and maybe I'll jinx it.
Okay, now we move to our one crazy prediction. My one crazy prediction. Are you ready?
Go on.
Everyone will line up on the grid properly.
Is that a prediction?
Yes! I'm sorry. We're 2 from 2. Someone not lining up in the grid properly. That means it's 0% happened so far.
You found a loophole.
A beautiful loophole. It's not happened this season yet. We're into round 3. You can't. Oh, look. Oh, Max, then Sergio, then Fernando. This is my time to try and get a point. And you watch 4 drivers be out of position come Sunday.
Yeah, imagine if it does happen again.
It.
If it happens again, I wonder what, like, there must be some weird.
I think they'll do an old school Le Mans start if it happens again, where they have to get out of the car, run to the car, and then they can, start from there, really. So at least they'll know if they're in the grid box or not.
My one crazy prediction, and could argue that maybe kind of leads into yours a little bit and some of the things that you've gone for, because I'm going to say that a Red Bull is beaten in qualifying. And I obviously think that is Sergio Perez, and I think he might get beaten by Alonso or Leclerc, but I've learnt from my mistakes, and I'm just going to say a Red Bull is beaten in qualifying and not go into specifics.
Is that crazy?
Yes, when everyone's moaning at the most dominant car, they've been miles ahead of everyone else, and I think it'll take a big...
crazy as my one.
Yeah, true.
No.
So,
all right.
Look, we need some points.
You're going for the full house. I can see it. You've really tried with this one. But fair enough, Tommy. Look, I'll have to do it for the next 20-odd races. And, this whole prediction series will go down the toilet because it's the same predictions every week. No, I'm kidding. But that was... Okay, fair enough. Let's see how many points we score this week. 5-3 to me currently. And that was all scored in Bahrain. Anyway, this podcast has rabbited on. And we will see you very soon for another podcast or video. On Friday.
Yes, tomorrow. Racing. Yay.
Bye.
Bye.